Yeah, so this is a fair use from the Act of 1976, disclaimer, section 107, on the critical and teaching and scholarship and educational purposes, research. I am not making any money off this. This is fair use, fair use.
Khan, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha HaKodash, Kahalayim, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father, and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To you sisters, your akhwatim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yehuda with the lesson. And yeah.
Allowing some of these ships. But this now, with this US blockade, it seems will effectively completely block the strait. Does this set a worrying precedent here when it comes to countries just being able to take over a waterway and decide what it does with it, even though there should be free passage?
Well, the Hormuz Strait is I think, a special case because of the territorial waters of Iran and Oman that are really overlapping. So there is no international waters in between, but there is a customary understanding that ships should pass. But at the same time, the U.S. has a history of this. I mean, they blockaded Cuba for such a long time, Venezuela more recently, and so on. If you have the power and the ability to do it, you feel you could do it. Now, is it illegal? I doubt it. Even in times of war, the U.S. has not declared war on Iran. They still see this as a special operation. So there is no real official status of war between the two countries. So, and they tried, and some of their allies tried to help them by taking the issue to the Security Council a few days ago in the hope that some language will pass that would allow this to be dressed in some form of legality. But that failed as well. The real issue, I think, it's going to put the United States in direct confrontation and tension with China. And we don't know whether this is part of calculations of Trump or is it going to be a byproduct. I suspect that it is part of his calculation for the bigger picture. He's determined to make sure that Europe is dependent on American oil and gas, and that is pretty much is the case today. He's determined to make sure that the Chinese, they do get their oil, but they get it at the international price and in dollars. And I don't think he has much, he doesn't give really much thinking to us in the Gulf here. And this is really dangerous because although we provide 20% of the world's oil, the world is not going to wait for us to resupply them. They're looking elsewhere. So we could easily find ourselves in a few weeks' time with no customers, particularly I think maybe the LNG and some of the more sophisticated products that we export from here. If people find supplies elsewhere, we're going to end up with the Iranians fighting over a fishing lake. I mean, this is not good to anyone. As far as our own development is concerned.
All right, I'd like to thank both of you. Muhammad Islam.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 18. Because ultimately, this what all that brings in is what? The beginning of sorrows. See, and that's all this is. At the end of the day, this is the beginning of sorrows, right? And great mournings, right? Mourning mean, mourning meaning you're grieving. So not only it's going to be the loss like of loved ones, loss of jobs, losing houses. It's going to be a lot of mourning, right? Put a lot of financial strain, as well as since the beginning of famine, right? Right, famine that never feels good, right? And great death. See, and it's going to be a lot of death that's going to come about it, man. It says the neighbors shall invade one another, right? When you read 2nd Ezra 15, invade one another, right? You know, was it Isaiah 19, Egyptian against the Egyptian? This is the time it's going to be great death. So not only would you have World War III going on, you're going to have a societal collapse, not just in America, but in the world. But the main target for judgment is America. That's why it's speaking of it as Egypt, right? The Lord said, woe to Egypt, woe to Babylon, right? That's speaking of America, right? And but yeah, and it was just the beginning of what? Of wars, plural, wars. So we're in the time where you have the Ukrainian war happening, right? You have, of course, the big topic right now is U.S. Israel and Iran war. But then they just said they killed, over, somebody did some type of strikes in Nigeria. Over 100 people died from a missile, some type of missile strike in Nigeria, or some type of bomb in Nigeria. So these are many wars, and we know there's a lot of gold and oil in Nigeria. There's some things for them to fight for, right? Same thing is happening. It was the Dominic, no, not Dominic, but the Democrat Republic of Congo, right? There's a lot of fighting there, right? You have what's going on in Haiti, right? You have complete blackouts in Cuba, right? These is the time of great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, right? Meaning these different governmental powers, they're going to stand in fear. Why? Because there's a great shift in the world, you know, and ultimately it's the Israelites that's going to win, the true Hebrew Israelites. But there's going to be great debt because the Edomite is trying to keep his blessing, so he don't care about what means he go by in order to accomplish that, right? That's why right now he's willing to blockade the other side of the strait, right? But even that, like that guy was saying, he think it's Trump is not stupid. He don't, you know what I mean? He see that they could be prepared to be the next oil place to that everyone has to go to receive oil, because he has control over Venezuela. Venezuela had they said something over 300 billion with the B, 300 billion barrels. That's a lot of oil. That's a lot and lots and lots of money, right? With that type of money, you turn that trillionaire into, I don't know what's after trillion, but that's what you would be. A zillionaire, or whatever it would be after trillion. And that's what that would make you. And that would bring America back to a certain height, right? Matter of fact, the other brother said that. And he said it before this guy. So that shows you that the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is working with the men of Great Millstone, man. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put that video on after this. After I read this, I'm gonna put that video, because it's crazy that the brother had just said that exact same thing. And this was like a couple weeks back. I'm gonna go back, try to find, in my history, because this is a while back ago the brother said this. And here it is, this guy pretty much said the exact same thing that the brother was saying, right? So it's showing we're in the beginning. So it's not the end, but it is the beginning of these sorrows, right? And it says of war, the beginning of war, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils, right? Yeah, see, Evil meaning what? A bad time. It says, and what shall I do when these evils, plural, shall come?
Hey, Barak Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Hakodash, the ones of the apostles, bishops, elders of Great Millstone, Shalom, true brothers in the highways and byways, doing the works sincerely and faithfully, and continually fighting the good fight of faith. Lord willing, we're found that number to be delivered. All right? So I just want to talk a little bit about the current events of what's happening here concerning Babylon, concerning, the Iraqi war, the oil, the Strait of Hormuz. All right? So first I want to start off by saying this. We understand and know that Donald Trump was never a politician. He was always a businessman, right? And being a businessman, you're going to have a business mentality. And this is what Donald Trump has. He has a businessman mentality. He's not a politician. He's not a man of war, all right? So with that being said, let's take a look at what's actually going on. So here in America, you're seeing gas prices go through the roof. Food prices are going up. There are different things that are taking place in this country where the American people are at their wits' end because they're saying that this man, Donald Trump, is destroying the country from within, right? Now, I watched a video of Donald the other day, and one of the statements he made on that video was, the American people just only, if they can just be patient, right? So when he said that, it got me thinking, why would he say if they can just be patient? So a statement like that is telling you that he has something up his sleeve, if you will. All right? He has a motive. There's an agenda that he's trying to put forward. So I'm going to talk about that agenda that I believe he's speaking of, right? When he speaks of be patient. Now, at the end of the day, we know Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear missiles. And we know that, everything that's being done, is sanctioned by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. But at the same time, we have to watch and see and understand that these things are going to play out. Certain things is going to play out. All right? So, for example, let's talk about the Iran war conflict. We'll call it a conflict. Right? I said Iraqi a little while ago, but I meant Iran. So, Donald Trump, he's coming at this from this perspective, I believe, that if you go to war with these people, they shut down this passageway, the Strait of Hormuz, right? What that's going to do is going to cease the movement of oil and goods, right? And the more America keeps pounding missiles, rockets, whatever, on Iran, the longer it's going to take, or the longer the strait is going to be closed, right? So, in that video I was watching with Donald Trump, he made a statement. He was talking about the relationship that he has with Venezuela, right? Now, currently, right now, there are talks between America and Canada, America and Mexico, all right? This July, they're going to have a big summit, these three countries, speaking about financial stability, speaking about trade, all right? Now, what we must keep in mind is this. If the Strait of Hormuz is closed, right, that means all of Europe is going to be affected because the majority of those countries over there depend on oil, right? Now check this out now. If America keeps putting bombs over there, sending troops over there, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to continue to be closed. These countries are going to continue to spiral out of control. All right? Now, if you remember in the 40s, right after World War I and World War II, the what was it? It was a conference. It was called I think it was Belfort. I think it was. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. But there was a conference, and that conference, it was established that 44 countries were going to agree to use the American dollar as the world reserve currency, right? And from that point forward, this still remains in place today. But I say that because what you're seeing now, you're actually seeing another power move by America. Though it may not seem like it, and this is why what sparked my thought about this, as far as the president saying, you know, the people can have patience. So check this out. Now, you got Iran, who controls the Strait of Hormuz, right? You have America, who now is in league, if you will, with Venezuela. There are talks with Mexico. Now there are talks with Canada. The talks with Canada, they're not so. There's a lot of tension involved because of what, you know, Canada is doing as far as how they feel they should run their government. But these are three major oil producers: America, Mexico, and Canada, right? So if the Strait of Hormuz is continually closed, what do you think is going to happen? These countries are now going to seek oil from somewhere, and that oil is going to come from who? America. Now, Donald Trump, again, he's looking at this from a business perspective. As long as that war rages on, and as long as the... Now, look at it like this. Let's be realistic. If America wanted to, they could blow Iran off the map, if they wanted to. Just like Russia could blow Ukraine off the map. All right? But these wars are strategically set up for a reason. Right? So that being said, as long as America continues to put troops over there, continues to drop bombs and rockets and things, the Strait of Hormuz is going to remain closed. So these countries are going to seek to acquire resources and energies from somewhere. All right? So who do you think they're going to come to? Because if America's already setting the stage for the cornering of the market with these oil-producing countries on this side, then what's going to happen? So all these countries who are in debt to America, right? At some point in time, if this goes the way it's going to go, now mind you, we understand America's going to be destroyed. There's no doubt about it. But in the meantime, in between time, you're still going to have America, you know, taking its stance, you know, as far as, you know, the leader of the world, the known world, right? So as long as America has control with Venezuela, Mexico, Canada, and on top of that, they also now the Panama Canal. Now America had control of the Panama Canal up until '99, I believe it was. Then they turned it back over to Panama. Panama has sole control and direction of what goes on, what comes and goes, right? But how does America play into that? America plays into the Panama Canal because it provides military support.
Yeah, so, you know, this being a certain mind frame that you're supposed to have, being the men of Great Millstone have that truth, you know, and this is what those things that put your mind at ease, because people are looking at things and they're like you said, they're not they're basically lashing out at Trump, and they can't see the vision. It's like you being in the truth, and you doing this work, but the woman can't see the vision. The way the kingdom's coming. It doesn't look good, and it's painful right now, but it's coming. You know, and when you have this truth, you have a certain mentality, right? Because this is the beginning of sorrow. So it's not over yet. So it says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul, be not cut off in her iniquity. So that means catch a flight to Israel or go to somewhere else? No, because it's a place that the whole world is going to be tried. The Lord said he should try it the whole world, right? The RFID micro CHIP is going to be implemented throughout the world, right? You can't go to Nairobi, Kenya, and not and escape the mark, the Quran, the Crocs, the Grapho, right? Not to mention you're gonna get Hamites throwing piss at you, right? So you this is it's a worldwide event. So how do you come out of it? Through a peace of mind, right? Through the scriptures, right? Wow. Yes. So it says, for this is the time of for this is the time of Yahweh's vengeance, right? So Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is going to take vengeance upon this place, right? He will render unto her, right? Who's the her? The daughter of Babylon, the daughter of Egypt, going to render unto her a recompense, right? Because it says what? Babylon, right? Because Trump speaking about, because basically what their brother was bringing out, were reminding me of this scripture, because being that when Trump saying he's going to bring back a golden age, when things are flourishing and things going to be good again, so to speak. And then, they could most likely bring in those East Indians to make a buffer zone to basically push you Jakes down lower, right? And they could say they have this. You can't say we're racist because we have these brown skinned people, and they're going to fill them in with the jobs that they would normally give Jake. That's why even Elon Musk was bragging about that. We'll get these East Indians who's capable of being able to do these jobs, because they don't want to give it to Jake, right? They want to be able to put you under more, right? Because even now, what's his name? Dr. Umar, he brought that out about how they want to make that buffer zone with these East Indians, because they've done it, throughout the world, bringing them in and being able to bring Jake down lower, right? So it says, but it says Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand, that maketh all the earth drunken, and the nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. And that's when you're sparking out what? World War III. Because they're going to get mad that they're going to get duped into having to basically put America back as the world currency, as the brother was so eloquently bringing out through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And I thought it was so beautiful that this Ishmaelite had said the same thing. So I did put the Ishmaelite first, but the brother had said it way before that, well before that Ishmaelite dude said it, or whatever he is, right? I don't know if he's Ishmael or Elam, but before he said it, the brother had already had said it, you know. But yeah, that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna have to eat it, and then all these nations who turned their back on America, and the time that it looked it bad. Hey man, yeah, now you're gonna have to eat those words. Oh yeah, you know that money, you know that money I owe you. Forget about it now. You want oil? You want to live? You don't want to freeze in the winter? You got to come through me. You know? Yeah, you thought I was a laughing stock? Hey, but see, like the brother said, it's not going to stop. They're going to get destroyed. America's still going to be destroyed. Yeah, so this is Matthew chapter 24, verse 4. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. And see, that was a key element of what that brother was doing. He said he was listening to that interview, and then some reason it was like an old interview, and he was like, man, why is he saying that? And see, that's part of taking heed. Why is he saying if the Americans could just hold on, if you could tough it out, you have to bite the bullet now, but you're gonna reap the benefits later, right? And that's taking great heed of what the time that we're living in and what's going on, right? For many shall come in my name, right? That's America in itself. Saying that they're this God-fearing country. They say they come in the name, but they come in a false name. They come in the name of Bar Jesus, not in Yahushai, right? They come in Bar Yahushai, which they don't even use Yahushai, right? They come in a false name, right? Saying I am Hamashiachim and shall deceive many, which they've already done that with the madness. But I mean, so many people are still caught up in plantation Christianity, right? Though they see what we say is ultimately being done, but pride won't let them, and just foolishness too. But we could tell a lot of, especially since the Israelites came on the scene, how many people go on your Facebook, your YouTube, your anywhere, Instagram, what is it, TikTok, and you see so many people are reading the Bible all of a sudden. Now they're swearing they have this knowledge. They swear they have the unction, right, from the Holy One, and they know all things, because that's ultimately what that's saying. By saying they're Hamashiach, saying that they got stamped with that unction, right? The smearing, the anointing, to be able to teach, to be able to break down, those 7 seals that were released by Yahushua, by the Messiah, basically saying the Messiah is dealing with them, right? That what it says, Revelation, the Lord said that He would come to the door and knock, and you let them in. They're saying that they let the Lord into their mind, and the Lord's dealing with them in their inward man, in their inward parts, right? To the real man, right? The inward man, and it's it's a lie. The Lord's not dealing with them, man, right? It says, and ye shall hear of wars, right? And that's what's happening right now. See, there's certain wars that's going on, and even like the brother was saying, it's a conflict. Even that Ishmaelite or whatever he is, either Ishmaelite or Elamite, he said that America's not even calling it a war. They're saying it's just an operation or a conflict. It's not a war. So you're saying you're hearing of war, but I get it. If anyone's shooting back and forth, it's a war. Even in the streets, it's not a war, but they're going at each other, so they call it a street war, street battle. But technically, it's just a rumor of a war. And then you still got certain things that's going on when it's really things are happening, but there's things happening behind the scenes. That's the most important part about it. So it's just a rumor of a war. It's not the actual war, right? And most of that is what bringing in the MOTB, crunching the economy down,
everything now to everybody's gonna feel the squeeze, and you ain't gonna have a choice if you don't have the true spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You're not gonna have a choice but to give yourself over and to the mark of to the mark, right? The Karagma, the Crux, the Grapho, right? Because you don't have the spirit, or you get put to death in between, whatever, whichever one comes first, right? And but it's wars, rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, right? And what that brother brought, that keen understanding of not being deceived, letting no man deceive him, right? And make sure that you're not troubled. See that you be not troubled, because that eases your mind. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. See, and that gives you comfort. See, now we know that these things are happening, and it's really for this ultimate buildup, so that America could be basically back on top, be that golden cup in the Lord's hand all over again, right? So it could be that world reserve currency. Now everybody has to look to America, Canada, Mexico, because America's controlling the Panama and 300 billion barrels of oil through Venezuela, right? That's lots of money. That's lots and lots of money, man. Right? So it says, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet, Yeah, so basically once that's all, put into power and put into position, right? It's not going to stop what the Lord has ordained. And it says what Babylon, right, which is the daughter of Babylon, is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed, right? So this is like a form of a way to heal Babylon, right? So if he, this all works out, and Iran shoot themselves in the foot by blocking the Strait of Hormuz, and everybody has to start getting their oil from America, from between the Venezuela, Mexico, America, and Canada, which then America controls the Venezuelan oil and the protection for the Panama Canal, right? That's a way to heal this place. It's a way to try to heal it. But even in the midst of healing it, right? Because you know how if you had a wound or something, when you put like Neosporin or whatever on it, it does activate. It starts to administer the medicine, and the parts that it could heal, it actually starts healing. But if your wound is too far gone, there's no amount of Neosporin or ointment or balm, which they used to do back in the day, different types of herbs and thing, and they put it like in a cream, and basically make like a ointment, like a cream, a healing cream. And so that's basically what it's saying. So it'll start to heal, but if it's too far where it's already like starting to turn, gangrene or whatever it is, it's too far infected, the bomb won't link. So that's why it's basically saying it like that, right? We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. See, it's that money is going to come in, all that stuff is, and it's going to actually start building everything up. It's going to have a great effect on the world. People are going to basically have to bow down to the micro C hip. People are going to bow down to the system, because like, shit, damn, it looked like Trump do know what he's doing. He, so-called white man does know the wave of the future. We better follow him, because that's the future. That's the way to survive. That's the future. The future is changing. The brave new world. Everybody's they're gonna fall pursuit behind it. But in the That's why the brother said, in the meantime, between time, while that's happening and it seemed like it's healing itself, the Lord said, she shall not be healed. You know what I mean? Forsake her and let us everyone let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. See? And now it's going to be time for that judgment, because once they push the charagma, that's it. You know, the reason why the full judgment haven't came upon this place is because they haven't pushed the RFID microchip on a mass scale level, a worldwide level. It's out there in the world, pockets within the world, but once you're trying to force it upon the elect, that's when you have went too far. Now your sins, your iniquities, your sins have reached its full, right? Yeah. So this is Jeremiah chapter 46, verse 10. For this is the day of the Adonai Most High Power of hosts, Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakadash, a day of vengeance, that he may avenge him of his adversaries. Right, being starting with Esau, Edom, Psalms 83, right, and which is basically that hit list. Yahweh's hit list, Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai's hit list, and the sword shall devour, and it shall be satiated, which means pleased, right, and made drunk with the blood, with their blood, with their blood, for the outer one power most high, Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai of hosts, have a sacrifice in the north country by the river, what? Euphrates. And that's ultimately where they're at. That's in that land, the valley of Yahweh Shabbat. It's where all those troops, the mountain of troops, right? Right? The valley of decision, some people call it. The mountain of troops, right? Which is the day, what they say they want. They want Amagawan. Hey, now you got Amagawan, right? It says, go up into Gilead and take Bam, O virgin, what? Daughter of Egypt, showing that you are the daughter of Babylon, and you are the daughter of Egypt, right? O virgin daughter of Egypt, in vain shall thou use many medicines, for thou shalt not be cured. See, it ain't gonna help you. No matter controlling the Panama or this and that and doing all these things, once you start implementing the micro C-hip, once you start doing these certain things to affect the elect of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, the anger and the jealousy that the Most High has for his woman, right, which will be the elect, right, because that's his bride. He's betrothed unto us. You know what it says about what happens, even though a lot of those other Israelite camps don't understand. It's when the woman's betrothed is when you could put them to death. If the woman's betrothed and she crieth, right, you put the man to death, but she lives. And that's what we're doing. We're crying. Surely we're in the chief place of concourse, out there crying, because that's what it says, that they shall cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof, right? That's what we're doing, right? Even when it said when we were in the time of Pharaoh, the Lord said he heard of their cries and delivered them, right? And that's what we're doing. We're crying unto Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, yeah, this is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 46, and lest your heart, which is your mind, right, faint, your mind faint, right? Because a lot of things are going to be happening in the world, and you have to. One thing that you have to do, you have to realize what's going on and the condition of the battle to be
occupied with something that you don't need to put that much energy in, it's basically a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of everything. It's something that could bug you out. It says, and ye shall fear for the rumors that shall be heard in the land. See, so if you're fearing because of these different rumors and wars and rumors of wars and certain things that's going on, I heard this is going to happen. Oh, the race wars are going to happen. Oh, no, ain't nothing going to happen. They're going to vote this in and everything's going to be okay. And then you hear, oh no, the prices is going up and things are not, and you're just going back and forth with these different rumors. I heard Texas is going to break apart from America. Matter of fact, the lower southern states is going to break away from America, from Florida to Texas. They said they want to be their own country. They're going to do their own thing. You just hear all these different rumors and these different things, people of conflict, of tensions, right? Within themselves, with the National Guard, right? You're hearing that, it may be states going against the National Guard, or your states are calling their own National Guard to go against the military, right? And then you got of course, you got the race wars. You got so-called black against white, and then, hey, so-called black against everybody, right? Hey, the cold part is even against your own selves, right? And but see, that's why the Lord has the brotherhood, right? That's why, all 12 tribes are it's not about what you look like. It's about the spirit. And that spirit is going to lift up a standard and protect you in that time, So it says, that shall be heard in the land. A rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that, in another year, shall come a rumor and violence in the land. See, and then next, things are just going to kick off just because of these different rumors, because people, they don't know what's really going on. They didn't step back and take heed of what's actually happening and key words that people are saying. Like the brother was saying, I had to step back and look. Well, why would he say if they could just hold on? Right? You got to look at these things. And then those things look bad or bleak. Does it mean it's actually going to happen that way? No. But our faith is in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. But see, what happened is people, their faith is not in the Lord. And they're going to bug out. They're going to hear a rumor and violence in the land and ruler, right? Against ruler. You have the National Guard going against the military. You got, certain so-called dignitaries against this so-called dignitary. They're going to be talking smack against each other. And then the right. And then what it says in the scriptures, because of the city and their pride, right? It's going to happen. They're going to say, no, this is our state. This is our city. We're going to call it our National Guard, and we don't want ICE, and we don't want this, and we don't want that. And the whole infighting between ICE and the military and the people and the lack of thereof, the bread, the food, the things, hey, nothing but calamities, man. Order out of chaos, right? Yeah, so this is Matthew chapter 24, verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. See, you can't be troubled just because you heard you're just breaking out and but people, their minds is not stable. They don't have nothing. They don't have a real anchor. They'll say that, what is it? JC is their anchor, because they'll read that verse and they see that it says JC in there. Yeah, but because it says JC, that doesn't make that his name. That don't mean it has power, right? The name of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, has power in that name, right? And then ultimately it comes with faith. It comes with the Lord being able to deliver you, right? Yeah, for what it says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be what? Famines. See, with this whole crunch of the Strait of Hormuz, and nothing's coming out and nothing's going in. Famine, right? They said the big bulk of the fertilizer that the farmers get come from Iran area. But my thing is, what happened to them using the cow's dung? Oh yeah, they did say that it causes carbon emissions. So I don't know, because back in the day, that's what you used to use for fertilizer. You could take the cow's dung, the horse's dung, right? Because they got some crazy thing talking about human dung, but I don't think that's a good idea. See, because at least a cow, I believe a cow has 7 stomachs, right? It goes through a process, right, of it being. That's why what they call it, cow patties. It basically, the poop, when it goes like that, and it sits out there for a while, mushrooms pop up, which I believe, of course, I believe, you can flip it over, wash them really, really well, and I believe they're edible. So you get a lot out of cow dung. You get a lot out of it. You could use it for fertilizer. You can get the the mushrooms out of it. There's beneficial things, and not trying to demonize it, right? But that's the it's the devil, because he's using whatever he can use to fulfill his the lust of his own heart and his will, his agenda, which is ultimately that novus ordo seclorum. But first you got to bring in the chaos, right? Order out of chaos. And when you do, what? Nation shall rise against nation, right? You got these race wars, right? But you got nations, Iran and Israel is 2 different nations. But then you got the U.S. involved, and then they're also shooting missiles at other nations, at Saudi Arabia and the other little what they call the GCC nations, right? The Gulf, which are Middle Eastern nations, the Gulf Coast countries, right? The GCC Gulf Coast countries, right? So these are nations against what nations? And of course, it's going to involve, like I said, eventually China and Russia. See, and that's going to be the overall, the end all be all, right? That's full-fledged World War III. But right now, it's not full-fledged World War III. It's just a conflict, right? But in the midst of that conflict, it's going to bring in what? Famines, and there shall be famines and pestilence. So when people start dropping dead from being hungry and starving, and no one's able to pick the bodies up, and it's going to cause a disease. It's going to cause decay. It's going to cause a pestilence to come from that, from the different dead bodies, from all the different people dying. It's going to cause a disease, which is a pestilence. And earthquakes in diverse places. See, and you're gonna have earthquakes, things like that, because they're pumping out. Everybody's going on this pumping oil trip, right? Because now it's this race to have all this oil. So America's pumping out oil on this side on the earth. They're gonna be pumping the hell out of oil on that side of the earth. And like they tell you, the oil is like the blood of the earth. It needs that oil to move the tectonic plates. So it shifts, so it's like a smooth thing. You ever have a car and it don't have oil in the pistons, and it goes up and down and don't have no oil? That thing it's gonna grind until it locks up. You're gonna have earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. That's just the beginning. So things are gonna look very grim. It's gonna be an evil time, like the Lord said. Evil time, and that's just the beginning. That's you ain't seen nothing yet, like they say. You ain't seen nothing yet. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, right? Because it's the time of what we've said was the truth, and people, it's you guys' fault. You brought this on because you kept saying it, and it actually happened. It came. Well, there is power in words, right? Power, and it brings it to fruition, right? We're gonna magnify the name of the Lord, man, and you're gonna have no choice. It's gonna be like the Dead Note, right? Remember the book, the Dead Note? I believe there's that movie. It's called Dead Note. and no one knew who that thing was. People were dropping, but then we started just killing out massive amount of people and at one time, and it was just this like such a supernatural way. Everybody started praising that whatever little god name that they call it. I don't know, but you're gonna be praising Yahweh, right? You're gonna know that eventually there's gonna come a day that every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is King and Lord. You know, and it says, yeah, to deliver you up to be afflicted and to kill you, right? Yeah, because we're going to different concentration camps and certain things, and people are going to be trying to hurt us, harm us. And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Yeah, the true name, Yahweh, right? It's the Father, right? The existing one, Bahasham, which is mean in the name, Yahweh Shai, he who saves, he is salvation, right? Or he saves, right? Right? A nomen omen, and shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Eh? That's what it's all about, right? And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another. Woo! And we already see that with the two freaking frat, two blockheads, right? Bert and Ernie, what's his name? Akkad and Ashar, what's his name? I forgot the dude's name. But yeah, the little light-skinned dude, Deacon Akkad, Hassad and Akkad. Hey man, they betrayed us, man. They got offended, right? And shall hate one another, right? And that's the time that we're in, you know. Yeah. So this is Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 10, right? Because they're gonna come up against the prophets, man, the elect. You know, well, right now we're the hopeful elect, but like the brother said, who else is doing it? Who else is doing what we're doing, right? You know, the Lord's using the men of Great Millstone and the ones of the like mind doctrine to bring out this truth, man. You know, it says and Yahweh have brought forth our righteousness. See, and who else could do this but the Lord? He brought it forth. He put the Spirit in us, the true unction of the Holy One, and we know all things. We are Hamashiachim, right? Right? For Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai have brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare, right? That's what we're doing. Crying aloud. We're not the woman that gets graped and not cry out. Means you liked it or you wanted it, right? We're crying out. They're gonna come in, and when you go into that word, it means to grab it, to seize, take hold of, right? You know? And they're gonna try to grab us up. Take siege, take hold of us. Throw us in concentration camps. Some should be killed. Right? Right? That's what the Lord said. For his name's sake. You're going to be delivered up to the authorities. Right? You know? It says, come and let us declare in Zion the works or the work of Yahweh, our power. Right? Make bright the arrows, right? The ICBM missiles, right? We're telling you, hey, this is going to happen. Gather the shields, because this is with all this war rumors. Hey, it's going to just kick in to be a full-fledged World War III. Full-fledged, all-out race war, food wars, gender war, whatever war you want to call it. It's going to happen throughout all the streets, every place on the planet. Right? And while these elites that they're fighting to who's going to be the next ruler, you people are going to be fighting for scraps, right? But this order out of Kale, and then hey, a lot of you you're gonna give in. Hey, Mr. Unfriendly Neighborhood Edomite, give me your microchip so I can live, because basically you're my God and I trust in you. Here's my right hand. Here's my left hand. Here's my mind. All right. Neuralink. You know, the Elon Musk's Neuralink. You know, put a chip in my head. I'm okay with nah. See, because who gonna kick it really off? It's gonna be the Israelites and those Bible Belt Edomites, man. Those are the ones gonna be in the real fight, man, against this, man. The real people who's opposed to what they're doing. This micro C hit. So we declare in Zion the work of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai have raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, right? Which is dealing with Russia, but it's also what Russia is going to have a bunch of other countries with them, namely what China, North Korea. You know what I mean? You know, the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, all these people are going to come against this place right here, Babylon the Great, against them in the land of Yahushua over there where the Euphrates is at, right? All that's going to happen to the daughter of Egypt, the daughter of Babylon, right? Come up, and the kings of the Medes, for he devised against what? Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, the vengeance of what? Of his temple. And his temple, the temple are the people, man. We're people before a place, and that the third temple is every man is a brick within the temple of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai, right? Yeah, so this is us set up the standard, right, upon the walls of Babylon. See, when we're out there prophesying, we're setting up a standard. You know, we're saying this is thus saith the Lord, and this is what pleases the Lord, right? This is what pleased the God of Israel, right? And you're falling short of it. This is the standard, right? Upon the walls of Babylon, right? Make the watch strong, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah, that goes into what? Yeah, them going into battle too, as well. A standard upon the walls, because what? These other nations are going to hold them accountable for these war crimes. You know, these different things. That's like setting up a standard too, coming up against the atrocities that they have set. You're gonna make them accountable to set up a standard upon the walls of Babylon, which is going to be ultimately be the missiles, right? The judgment. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen, right? Because we're the watchmen, but they have watchmen as far as a military too, right? You have the political what do you call it? The political watchmen when it comes to like economists and political geopolitical people, and that watchman is watching what's happening geopolitically and economically, and what's to prepare the ambush. See, and what they're gonna do is, hey, look at everything and what it is. Like, now, hey, look, let's go after this. Let's go after her, right? She done did too much. America done did this. The daughter of Babylon, the daughter of Egypt, she done went too far. Now prepare the ambush for Yahweh. Bahasham Yahushai have both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. See? So basically the word went out of Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai's desires, his mouth, which is the prophets, and will not come back void, right? So it's got to happen. So hey, the Lord, hey, it's accomplished. It's gonna do it. It's gonna be done and done that which he have spake against the inhabitants of Babylon, which is America, daughter of Babylon, the daughter of Egypt. Thou that dwell upon many waters, right? They're military. See, they're going around bullying everybody because they have this great military. You know what I mean? And they get to just bully everybody, you know. And now, hey, judgment's coming. People, they're tired of it. The nations are mad when they find out. They're, like I said, they find out you did all this stuff and you didn't. Hey, man, just so you could keep on having the world reserve currency, so you could do what you're doing. Hey, people are gonna be upset, man, right? And then it's not gonna work out the way you said it's gonna work out, because the Lord is still the curses are falling upon you, right? So it says, where am I at? Oh, thou that dwell upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thy end is come. See, you can only rule but for so long, especially in wickedness, right? The Lord is going to give the kingdom over to his son, Yahushai. And and by default, the Israelites get it, right? Because Yahushai is an Israelite, right? He came back as an Israelite, right? Solomon, and then he came back as Yahushai and delivered us, right? Now he has to come back, the second coming, right? And and wreck shop. You know what I'm saying? All out war. And it says, so thy end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. See? And that's Esau. You've been going around the world stealing everybody's minerals, their gold, their, all these different things. You're covetous of everything that's going on in the world, right? You want it all for yourself, right? And if you don't want it, you want to get cut in on it. You know what I mean? Yeah, so with all that, I want to give all honor and all glory and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachah HaKodash, call all Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachah HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To you sisters, Shwachatim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and above all, Kwam Yasharallah.